hopping and a bopping and a singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet. Blow rockin' Robin, 'cause we really gonna rock tonight. Every little swallow, every chickadee, every little bird in the tall oak tree. The wise old owl, the big black crow, flap of their wings, sing and go, bird, go, rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, rockin' Robin.
Hi, you're at home with Mrs. Hawken, and today we are going to make a collage. And the collage I'm going to show you how to make is called Birds on a Branch. So the supplies that you're going to need is something to put it on, some kind of paper. You're going to want to get some glue, a Sharpie, some scissors, of course, and if you want to do a background like mine, you need chalk. And then one of the most fun things is newspaper. We are going to, yes, recycle. So go ahead and grab your supplies and I will meet you back here. Okay, let's say it's going to be a lovely either sunset or sunrise. So I'm going to get out my warm colored chalks. It's going to be red, orange, and yellow. Now, I don't want to color hard like this, like you traditionally do with a pencil or oil pastel. I'm going to lay it on its side like so, and I'm going to drag the red across the bottom, kind of like this. I don't really need to get all of the white spaces perfectly covered because I'm going to take a tissue shortly and that will help to kind of blend it together. Okay, so I've gone about a third of the way, not quite half. And now I'm going to switch from my red to my orange. I'm going to overlap the orange on the red just a tad there. Next thing we're going to do is put our tree so that we have a place for our birds to go. So I have some newspaper. This is an excellent way to use some of that newspaper you might have in your recycling bin. I like to find a page with lots of small writing on it because it creates fun texture. You know, you can do words or you can look for the cartoon section, whatever you like. Here's the one that I used for the other. And what I'm going to do, oh, here's the cartoons again. I am going to hold it up next to my paper so I know about how big I want. This is the trunk of my tree, so I need it to be pretty wide, and I want it to be larger on the bottom than it is on the top, because as trees grow, the top is much narrower than the bottom or the base of our tree. So I'll start over here and I'll just cut a strip like so. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight because it's a tree. All right. So now it's going to be a little longer than my paper, and that's not a big deal. I can fix that. I am going to go ahead and hold it up to where it goes, and I can see that, oh, this is where I want it to be cut off. If you don't get it perfect, that's okay. We can trim it up later. So now, that's my tree trunk. I'm going to turn it to the back, and I'm going to do my glue. And as you might remember from class, a dot will do. Any more is too much glue. And you really don't have to get the glue all over it. The most important place to get it is along the edge, close to the outside. And we don't need a ton, because if we get too much, it's gonna get really gooey and it will soak through our paper. I'm gonna use 2 hands, and you might need someone to help you out with this. It's a relatively big piece, and I'm gonna lay it on there and smooth it out. See, the nice thing about getting the glue closer to the edge is that it lays down nice and flat. Okay, so now we've got the trunk, and next we need a nice little place for our birds to perch. We've got to give them some kind of branches. Now, I don't want it too high or way down here, probably about like that. And you'll notice I hold my paper up to my page. And you know what I think? I think I want it to be about this wide. I want it to be a nice sturdy branch so that my birds feel safe on there. So I'm just gonna go like that. I just drew so I know about where I want that cut to go. Because once you cut it, you can't really undo it. But if I draw it and I don't like it, I can change it. So here's a nice branch. And again, if it's too long, not a big deal. We can trim that off. So on the back of your branch, a dot will do. Any more is too much glue. So, I'm going to put that on there. So we have our tree and our branch, and now we need our birds. So what I'm going to do is I'll decide where I want my birds, and then the thing I want to do also is you can either draw your birds right on the paper and go over them with Sharpie, or if you want to draw them on some black paper, you can, okay? So my first little birdie, let's put him right here. And I'm not going to have this body touching the branch. I'm going to draw what I call kind of a lemon. And it's going to look something like that. Kind of like that shape we put around our eye when we make it. That's going to be his body. Okay? Then his little head goes right here. And it's not a whole circle, it's like a half a circle. Okay? His little beak will come out of it like so. And then his legs are coming from his body at an angle to hook onto the tree or attach. Then up here, his little tail's kind of going up. It's a triangle is what it is. See how that looks like a triangle? So we've got a lemon, half circle, triangle, and then his little legs. There's one birdie on a branch. Now I'm going to move over, and this time I'm going to do, and again, don't touch the branch with it, just a little above it. This is going to be kind of an upside down teardrop. See how that works? And yours might not look exactly like mine, and that's okay. All right, then I'm going to put a circle on top. You see a little more of this circle than that one. And then you can put the beak on this side or this side. I had my bird in the example looking in this direction. His tail is going to be that triangle shape. And I'm going to go right over that. Where's my Sharpie so you can see it? Because I know right now it's probably hard to see. So when I did that triangle, I come down and I go back up kind of like that, okay? And then his legs are gonna go at an angle from his body to the tree. And that's how he's hanging on, okay? Now I can put my third birdie down here or up here, whatever I guess I decide to do. And so this little birdie is going to be another of those upside down teardrops. My chubby little bird. And this time we're going to put his head on this side of his body. Okay, and the beak, I could have it going in this direction, but I think I'm going to have it going this way. Okay, and I think I need to adjust that just a little. I'm not totally happy with it. Then I'm going to give him his triangular tail, and I'll go over that with the marker so you can see the shape. It's kind of a triangle shape like so. And then his little legs come from his body and attach to the branch. Okay, so now I just need to color these in. I'm using a regular Crayola marker. Sharpie works really well too. Or like I said, if you have some black paper and you prefer to cut your birds out, you can, but I think it's easiest for me just to draw them right on here. So here's my little birdie, the little lemon shape that I started with. And you want to color this. This is what we call a silhouette because you can't see the details. Notice there's no eyes, there's no feathers, there's no little tiny details. It's all colored in black. Okay, so there's one of my birdies. Then we'll get the second birdie, just like so. And if I just take my time and go back and forth like so, you'll notice my color tends to really come out nice and dark. If I go like this, it looks like I'm scribbling and I'm running out of ink. That's because my marker cannot keep up. So if you take your time and just go back and forth slowly like this, the marker can keep up with you and it doesn't act like it's running out. Alrighty. And this right here, what I did is I did not wait for this to dry, and you probably will want to wait for it to dry, and that's why that came up. It wasn't completely, the glue wasn't completely dry. So if you give it a few minutes to dry before you color, that sort of thing won't happen. Okay, we have one more little bird. So this little birdie is down here, and he is looking in the other direction. So we're going to color him in. Nice dark silhouette. Now I'm going to tell you that markers do not like to go over chalk. So that's why we rubbed this nice and smooth so it wasn't super dusty, because if it's super dusty it gets on your marker and your marker does not like it and it acts like it's not working. So make sure you rub that chalk really good before you start going over it with a marker. And the last step is to color over his little tail. My happy little birds on a branch. And you might decide that you're having so much fun that you need another branch and you're going to put another bird, say, down here. And that's something that you can do, especially if you have more newspaper. You know, it would be very easy to cut out another cute little branch and have a little bird right here because I've got a lot of space. Well, I hope you had fun making your collage, whether it was a bird on a branch or you made it a little differently. So that's all we have time for today. So I will see you again next time here at home with Mrs. Hawken. Have a great week.